Gretchen McIntyre is co-founder and financial manager of Citizens Co-op, a community-owned market. She is a Gainesville native and a UF graduate with a master's degree in accounting. She began organizing Citizens Co-op about 6 years ago after being inspired by the abundant local foods of Northern California. She has experience on many levels of our local food system, from business development to participating in the startup of a kitchen incubator and working on a local biodynamic farm. Gretchen also teaches yoga, works in pottery, chases her son Cedar around, and spends most of her time at area parks, farms, and restaurants. And I'm so glad to have you back. Welcome, Gretchen.
Thank you so much.
You know, I went back and I watched our interview that was done in November of 2000. No, it was 2009, November, and it's just so wonderful to go back and watch you envisioning and imagining what the food co-op could be, and now it is just up and flourishing, and I find that really satisfying. So.
All thanks to you.
That's right. That one show got it all off the ground. For those who didn't have the benefit of seeing that original interview, can we start by just taking it back before the food co-op and just tell the folks a little bit about how this all transpired?
Sure. Well, as you mentioned in my bio, I was really inspired by the abundant food systems in Northern California when I lived there. And there's a co-op and farmers market on every street corner, and the local farms, the local creameries, local dairies, local cheesemakers, they're all sort of revered, you know, and idols in the community.
Right.
So I was very much inundated with that and only shopped at farmers markets and co-ops.
Where in California was
Northern California,
okay.
Outside of San Francisco,
okay.
In that area,
Okay.
yeah. And so I knew when I came home, immediately I felt the lack of that, having to drive 30 miles to a dairy to go pick up my milk, and another 30 miles in a different direction to go get blueberries. Whatever it was, I just wanted greater access in a central point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hearing that same message from a lot of people and friends in the community. So about a week after moving back, I ran into my good childhood friend, Liz Nesbitt, and she had the same experience of falling in love with co-ops across the country when her and her family had gone on a road trip that summer. So it was August of 2007, I believe, and we ran into each other, just started talking, and that was the birth of the idea. It's kind of amazing to look back and think that that one conversation started or has launched and gotten us to where we are now, but it was clearly a need in our community, and it was the right time too, because we've seen an awareness of local food across the country spreading and growing, from Michelle Obama's garden at the White House to growth in co-ops across the country, growth in farmers markets, organic gardening. All of these have become much more layman household terms. So I think we sort of rode a good wave into opening.
I was amazed at the kind of model. When I first met you, you had come to the county commission and kind of pitched the county commission on what you were doing, and were just kind of garnering support. But tell me a little bit about the unique financial model that you all used to raise the initial capital.
Sure. Well, as in a traditional business, you might decide to go start one, maybe try to pull some money from family or friends, get a loan from a business, and on your own, try to raise that capital and get open. What we created was a co-op model, and that means that we are co-owned by the people who have joined to become members, have become co-owners. So in our case, it's paying in a $100 share, and that's the initial just upfront fee to become a co-owner. And we acquired about 1,200 members by the time we were ready to get a space. We now have 1,800 or so members, so that's sort of where we've grown in the community, household members. So one membership might actually be 5 or 6 people in some cases. And we raised money that way, and we also raised money through investment shares. So we sold private equity shares to our members, and they pay, a small dividend in a profitable year. And we have yet to get there. But we're on our way. We're on our way. And we didn't start with any debt, really, unless you consider the dividend as some small form of debt. No loans from the bank, but also no one individual ownership. So, I may have a big say in what happens day to day in the business, but ultimately we're run by our board of directors, which is elected from our membership.
Right.
And has the greater vision of the members, the community, the long-term vision of the co-op at stake.
So it's the standard nonprofit board?
Well, it is. We're actually structured as a for-profit entity.
Oh.
We are a for-profit business, but our bylaws establish us as a cooperative association.
I see.
So it's just kind of unique. It's not a common model in the U.S. yet. Well, I should say not in Florida, but in other states, there's very specific statutes just for co-ops where they're very common. California, Wisconsin, and other places where those are kind of common household terms. Yeah.
So you found a great spot downtown next to the Civic Media Center on South Main Street. When did you actually open?
We opened in July of 2011, 2 months after my son was born. So I had 2 babies at once, and it was literally stocking the shelves with a newborn in my pouch. So
is there video
the timing
available?
was funny. I think so. There's some pictures. We do have pictures.
So you're going on 3 years?
Yeah, well, 2.5 now.
Two and a half. So, wow.
2.5,
So what was that process like? You raised the money, you found the space.
Yes.
You had to start laying out the inside.
We renovated it, started looking for managers and staff to bring in, found some incredible people from the community who either had worked in grocery stores before or currently were, but we were looking for something different. And some of those people, that initial founding staff, they're still with us in key personnel roles. So they've really helped make the co-op what it is and have shaped where we've gotten to right now. And then the board of directors that have helped us along the way. We're in our second or third, I think, round of elections, or third iteration, I should say. And so everyone who's come along the way has contributed so much, and then either has moved on for whatever reason. But I could have never done this on my own. I know that for sure. And while it may have been a lot of work and taken a small team to constantly drive it forward, it's been the contributions of everyone, from the members shopping there, to the staff working there, to the board, volunteering their time, sometimes 20 hours a week, to just help us get off the ground. That's made it a success.
A real co-op experience.
Exactly. Yeah. True to its name.
That's right. So how is the co-op doing?
Yeah. Well, we're still in business.
That's right. The door was open. I was there yesterday, as a matter of fact.
We're here. We have 11 staff that we're able to employ and pay, I hope, a fair wage to. Definitely higher than any other grocery store in town, from what I understand, as a starting wage.
And who is your general? Do you have a general manager?
We do have an interim general manager right now. His name's Brett Ader. He's also owner of Humble Pie Pizza. I don't know if you've ever tried that at the farmer's market.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah,
the brick oven.
I have tried that.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
So we're currently interviewing, as we speak, actually, someone for a full-time permanent position in that role. And then, about 11, including myself, staff. So, I mean, it's funny because when we look at how we're doing, and one of our board members said to us the other day, well, we're open after 2.5 years, we're still open, we're breaking even, we're employing 11 people, and we're selling amazing food and providing over 200 local products, shelf space in our store. I call that a success.
Definitely a success.
Yeah.
Breaking even in 2 years is a success for most businesses.
I mean, it's funny because, of course, we always have our eyes or sights set to the next level. But when we pause and look at it and see where we've come from and where we're at right now, absolutely, we're in an incredible position.
So, you know, I try to explain to some people, I think I mentioned to you before the camera started rolling, I live downtown. So I'm literally right around the corner from the co-op. And I've gotten to the point really where I buy almost everything there. You know, I'm concerned about what goes into my body, and I like to know what's in the pie I'm eating.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just kind of this, you do all the work for me. I just have this confidence when I walk in there that what I'm coming out with is high quality and good for me. But how do you describe the range of what you have there? Because it looks so small on the outside, but the variety of what you have is really amazing.
It is. I may be biased, but I shop probably 99% of my groceries from the co-op. And I adjust for what's in season and what we have in the produce section. If we're out of one thing, I look to the, you know, whatever is next to it in terms of cheese or milk. We do a lot of research in the products that we carry. We make sure the companies are independently owned, and they're also contributing to a healthier planet, healthier foods, socially conscious, paying fair wages.
I won't name names, but I've seen products that you've dropped there when you've discovered that they are maybe not following those guidelines.
It's true, and maybe they're you know, owned by a larger conglomerate that all of their other businesses are not following those practices. And we just found it was important to us that we make those decisions up front and not have the customer have to be looking through 20 different brands and options and try to figure it out on their own based on the packaging, which could be misleading and this and that. So in some ways, I've seen our smaller space as a benefit to us because we don't have to fill the shelf with a whole bunch of variety.
Right.
And we still have variety of crackers or loaves of bread or types of cheese, but it's maybe one or two companies rather than 50.
I love your bread selections.
Oh, great. Thank you. It's all local.
And if you don't eat wheat, there are plenty of alternatives.
Gluten-free options. And so our whole selection really, you know, we have a wide selection of produce from things that are in season to just staple items that people really want to have year-round. Dairy and a whole bunch of dairy products, frozen foods, and just a small selection. We don't have a huge frozen food department of all prepared meals. It's mostly more of the ingredients that you might need to prepare your own meals.
You know, it feels like living in a little European town downtown in Gainesville.
It's nice, right?
Because I don't buy food for the week. I go down every couple days and see what's fresh and wonderful. And you know, another thing that I love about your store is your selection of dried herbs and spices. And it's just so nice because you don't have to buy, you buy the quantity you need. I mean, how many people have spices from, you know, 10 years ago that they never use in their cabinet? We
constantly are doing price comparisons, and recently we did a bulk pricing awareness where we put a package of something from a name brand store and then that same weight in bulk. And most of the time it was a 10th, sometimes a 100th of the price. I mean, there's still a lot of education that needs to be done in our community, in our culture in general about shopping in bulk. You can bring your own containers into the co-op and refill them, reducing waste when you shop.
I never imagined when I first talked to you that I'd be buying my laundry detergent at the co-op in bulk.
Bring the same plastic tub back and refill it with the powder or a bottle for the liquid. And you start to feel really good about the fact that you're not dumping a giant laundry powder container every 2 weeks.
Right.
You know, you're refilling that same container. It makes sense. We don't need to be wasting that much packaging on every single item we buy.
One thing I noticed, when you first go in, if you're not used to organic produce, you may find that some of the products you're looking at are more expensive. What I've learned, though, in shopping at the co-op, and I was a member of a co-op 30-something years ago when I went to school at FSU in Tallahassee, but they didn't have one here, so I kind of got out of the habit. But although any one item might be more expensive, what I learned was the more and more I started using fresh, organic vegetables when I'm cooking, it ultimately reduced my grocery bill because I was kind of staying away from that center aisle of the grocery store.
All the processed and
that's right.
value added sort
Yeah.
of not second hand, but they've taken multiple steps to take that tomato and turn it into
Right.
tomato sauce, right?
So it was actually a money saver for me.
It
going to
is.
the co-op.
If you shop primarily produce, fresh breads, and bulk goods, you're going to have the lowest bill out of anyone who's shopping conventional products. But you're right, there is an additional cost right now, even in organic produce, although you also find steals with local organic produce that's in season, incredible prices there, and there's a higher nutritional content to fresh, local, and organic produce. So you're getting more of those vitamins, more of those nutrients, which your body craves, and in some ways you fill up then on that, and then an hour later you're not hungry for something else because you're eating a giant head of lettuce that is mostly made of water, right? In a conventional product, there's not as much nutritional value in it.
Speaking of those local vegetables and
Yes.
deals, how does it work? How did you form the relationships necessary to
With our vendors.
get all that stuff into the co-op, and how do you support
Yeah.
the local food system?
I mean, it's a constant juggling act and work in progress, because for every one vendor we work with, it takes a certain amount of time and energy to build up that relationship, learn about their farming practices, work out their growing schedules and find consistency so we're not duplicating orders and overlapping with other growers.
So your background in accounting is come in handy.
A little helpful organization. But it really comes down to, our produce buyer right now, her name is Anna. We had an incredible produce buyer, Shayna, who helped build up our system for a while too. It's a lot about them just learning, becoming familiar with the growers. We have about 20 local produce vendors, produce farmers that we buy from, rotate through consistently, and then a larger organic produce distributor that we use to supplement with products from California or Mexico and things like that that are organic.
So you feel a responsibility if you can't keep up with the demand. I mean, your first step is to get it local.
Get it local
but
when
you
it's in
also have to
season.
take care of your customers.
We do.
Yeah.
Our top selling produce item in our store is organic bananas. And I don't think we'll ever grow those full, beautiful Chiquita bananas in Gainesville.
Right.
Broccoli is number 2, and we can only get that for a month or so in Gainesville. So yeah, there are, some of it is the shopping habits that we've learned, through the ages growing up, and that always being available in traditional grocery store.
Right.
And our job is not to necessarily change or force any shopping habits on anyone, but to provide as much information as we can on what's in season and where it comes from and what the growing methods are, and you can choose for yourself. So we have plenty of people who really try to stick to just local. We have others who just want organic, they don't care if it's local or not, and then a blend in between. I always go to the local item first and supplement with others later, because I know that's been harvested within the past 1 to 2 days.
We've talked about vegetables, about herbs, about dairy products, eggs, locally grown meats.
Yes.
I know you have also. But I think when some people think of the co-op, they think it's like a big vegetable stand, but that's not at all what it is.
Yeah, the majority of the square footage is probably taken up by traditional grocery items, pasta, sauces, salsas, chips, snacks, crackers, soups, canned soups, you name it.
Could you list all the items?
There's about 3,000.
Is there really?
Yes.
I go by on my runs and I grab a can of coconut water on my way home.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a lot of takeaway stuff.
We do, and we're constantly evolving and fine-tuning our grab-and-go section, but we do make organic salads with organic ingredients and sandwiches for the best price you could find in town for a freshly made organic sandwich or salad. So we are doing that, and it's constantly learning what sells, what doesn't,
Right.
how often to make them. And then the top selling product in our entire store is Micanopy made in kombucha.
Is that right?
Yes, I don't know if you ever drink kombucha.
You know, I haven't quite gotten to where I drink
Okay,
kombucha
next
yet.
time you're in the store, I will give you a sample.
Okay.
And that's something, you know, we always try to constantly offer samples for products you may not be familiar with. And someone can always come and ask us if they want to sample something. And we'll let them try it. But kombucha is a fermented tea beverage, and it's supposed to have a lot of health tonic and like health properties and cancer-fighting properties to it.
I love your sprouted wheat bagels with cashew cream cheese.
Yes.
I forget the name of the company.
Mouskowitz.
Yes, yes. It's excellent stuff.
Cashew cream cheese.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're a local company.
I feel guilt-free when I'm enjoying a bagel
That's
with
right.
that cream cheese.
Yeah.
When people hear co-op, they think of memberships.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to be a member to shop at the co-op?
No, not at all.
What is the advantage to being a member?
So the primary advantage that I feel is the most important to say is that you become a co-owner in this business.
Mm-hmm.
You get to participate in business decisions if you want. You can run to be on the board of directors. You can volunteer in the store for additional discounts on your grocery once you're a member. You can become an investor once you're a member. And we have monthly specials that are member discount only. We have 10% off member days about once a month now. And over time, as we are more and more profitable, we distribute that profit back to members based on their grocery bill. So there's no profits getting hidden in some offshore account here or high-paying corporate bonuses, trust me.
I was going to do an investigative piece on
your
Cayman Island account, Gretchen.
I'm out of here. You know, and the staff too, they volunteer countless hours above and beyond their pay grade to make this work. And it really is a community-based project. So you can feel good about knowing that every dollar you spend there is being invested right back into the local community.
Right.
Other than what's paid for the products that aren't made here, you have wages that are being spent locally. We go to, you know, Central Florida office for our office supplies. So we support other local businesses, our local vendors, and then any excess funds go back into the store, back into the community through grants, or back to our members through dividends and profit sharing. So it really is truly a community-owned and operated business.
So much discussion these days about food security and trying to figure out how to locally resource foods better.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, that's an important thing that you're doing. What are the obstacles? What is hard about all this?
Yeah, well, we still face a lot of obstacles with food regulations, and we can't sell every local product that's produced or farmed locally without that grower having certain certifications to make it legal for resale. It's the biggest hurdle with meat products. I'd love to have a much larger selection of local meats, but unless that grower gets their meat processed in a USDA inspected facility, we can't sell it and make it legal for resale.
I see.
There's still perception, I hear coming back to us, that we are more expensive or more of like a boutique market. So combating or just sort of breaking down those perceptions in the community to know that you can always find bargains, that you can shop affordably based on what you're buying, and that there may be a higher price on organic versus conventional, but there's no hidden costs in terms of your health and the health insurance market and the things that we end up paying for down the line because we're putting a bunch of chemicals into our body. And then the other challenge, I think, is just still getting our name out. We really don't have an advertising or marketing budget. We haven't. So it's been word of mouth and some creative advertising. And then I think that I still run into people, or people come up to me, that there's a huge community that still just isn't even aware about us or what we're doing. And once they come into the store and see for themselves and start to shop there, they love it. But yeah, getting over some of those just newbie business bugs.
So I noticed you have new registers now, or relatively new. It was, the old system was a little clunky.
It was.
And it's much better now.
It is, thank you.
Yeah.
So faster checkouts.
Faster checkouts.
We heard that. It was an obstacle that we encountered for a while, is people saying, well, I have to, make a lot of time to go there because it's going to be a long wait in line. We had an internet-based checkout system that if the internet slowed down, so did the line. But we received a gift that helped us pay for a new system, and it's in place, and it's much faster. It's very high-tech. Except when the power goes out, which did happen the other day.
That's when you take out
Blackout.
one of these and a pad and
We
a
did.
calculator.
Yeah, we did. We went back to, the 1800s, grocery checking out, and didn't lose that much in sales, and it worked out. So there's things like that that'll happen totally out of our control. Power line going down, store being, out of power for a day. And we have to innovate, and we have to roll with the punches, and we have an incredible staff that's been able to do that so far.
And who's the president of your board these days?
Right now, the chairman of the board is Lucian Kriegel. He is owner of Atlantic Design and Construction, so he brings so much business knowledge, enthusiasm. He shops there, has always shopped there, for all of his groceries, and probably one of the board members that puts in the most amount of time that I've seen. Just he'll take my phone call any time of the day and help me work through a problem. So everyone on the board has been incredible about that. But yeah, I'm really grateful for his help, especially right now.
So the name of the co-op is the Citizens Co-op. What is the address?
I don't know. I was thinking
I
web
was hoping I
address,
could stump
email
you.
address. You did. 435 South Main Street, and we're just past the fire station, right before 5th Avenue. Our parking lot, our dirt parking lot that is in the process of being renovated, is at 5th and Main.
There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in that part of Main Street. You guys have been part of a renaissance in that area, and I highly recommend people come and visit you, come give it a chance, see what it's all about, and thank you so much
You're
for
welcome,
coming back.
Mark. I appreciate it.
See you in a couple years.
Yeah.
Do you think about where you spend your money, where it goes after you spend it, and how that affects your community? Money spent at local and independent businesses stays in your community, and local businesses offer a wide variety of quality services and products. Whatever purchases you make, consider making them at local and independent businesses. When you do, consider it an investment in what you love about your community. Look for the Buy Local North Central Florida logo and visit www.buylocalncf.org.
I was tired of my life, and I started drinking to deal with it. So I talked to my best friend.
Everything was falling apart. I just couldn't take it anymore. So I talked to my girlfriend.
No matter what I did, I was never good enough. So I talked to my coach, and we went to this website.
These are examples of mental health issues.
There are people out there who care about you.
They can help. Just talk to them.
Who can you talk to?
To find out more, go to whatadifference.org and click on Learn.